Well, a very warm welcome, everybody. Welcome to the DDMM YouTube channel for live coverage of round 3 of the 2024-2025 season of the Club 100 iRacing Championship from a new circuit for the series' history here tonight, but not a new circuit to British motorsport fans at all. Welcome to Norfolk in a virtual sense, and welcome to Snetterton, the second appearance of the year for the GT3s. A circuit that was introduced to iRacing, I think, about 18 months ago, but is now a free circuit and a great opportunity for our field of probably around 40 drivers tonight to compete for the third time this season. I'm very glad to be joined tonight by Howard Mitchell. Howard, can you hear us? How are you doing this evening?
Hello, I can hear you, and that's not always been the case this season so far, so hello everybody. It's good to be with you on a backup mic, but that I won't let that stop me from joining you to talk about what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic evening of racing here as you say, mate, at a new circuit for our Club 100 iRacing series, which is always nice to welcome a new track. But as you say, one that's been on the service for a while, recently been made free. So a lot of drivers familiarising themselves with this fantastic British circuit, another fantastic British circuit on the iRacing service, and it's a pleasure to be along to talk you through the action.
Let's have a very quick look at the championship scores after 2 rounds. Kieran Harrison has absolutely dominated things in the first round for the GT3s at Silverstone and the first round of the MX5s at Suzuka 3 weeks ago. His lead is 480 points to 388. Matt Kendall second. Josh Mitchell first of the Clubmans at the moment on 368. Finley Brunson's had an impressive start to the season as well as the top intermediates. Remember, the big prize for all of these drivers is the winner of each of those classes, Premier, Club and Intermediate, all get a free day in the SP40 Championship for Club 100 2025. We've also got the rookie class out there, the development class, which at the moment is led by Matthew Shawnee on 120.22 points. Apologies, we can't go through those scores in more detail because we're already into timed qualifying. 10 minutes timed qualifying. Rule change from Suzuka means that if it's wet, you can definitely get an outlap and 2 flying laps in. That is not the case tonight, though, because it's dry in Norfolk. Who would have thought? But for the drivers here, bit of a different challenge, though, Howard, in terms of the 2 circuits that they've visited so far this season have both been Grand Prix circuits. Fast, wide, Snetterton, classic British circuit, used for many a year in various disciplines, British touring cars, British GTs, for example. But even with its extension, its infield extension that was made, I think I want to say around 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now. It's the 300 layout that we're using tonight. I think overtaking is going to be a bit tricky, so these qualifyings are going to be very important.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It is a circuit that's used in real life for British GT racing and such, so it's absolutely an appropriate venue for us to be having these GT3 cars at, no question there. But it is not a given that it's an easy place to overtake at all.
Some lap
here
times
around Snetterton. Yeah, early lap times are indeed coming in.
Yeah, they are coming in. Kieran Harrison to the top of the timesheets on a 1:45.8 to the nearest tenth of a second. Adam Delmont's had a good start as well. Quick reminder for all of those who need that reminder, or just or it's their first time on one of these broadcasts. The colours on the left-hand side of your timing tower indicate which class each of the drivers are in. Red for Premier, blue for Clubman, green for Intermediate, and black for the rookies. And for those who have maybe come back from last season and thought, well, what's happened here? Where's Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 gone? Essentially, Class 1s are now split into those Premier and Clubman groups. The very top C2s from the 2023 Championship have been promoted up for what is now Intermediate into Clubman. The rest of the C2s and some new drivers in there as well have also gone into Intermediate, and the C3s are essentially the rookies. Some new drivers, of course, have also gone into the Premier and the Clubman classes outright, those with particularly high I ratings but no history of racing in our championships have gone into Premier. Those with strong I ratings, say something like around a 3K sustained I rating, have gone into Clubman. Good example of that is like of a Matt Kendall, who's gone straight into Premier. Will Blackwell Chambers is a good example of someone who's gone straight into a Clubman. On board with Steve Hicks in the Lamborghini. Seed number 4 from last year's championship did not have a happy time at all at Silverstone in round 1. For Steve Hicks, he'll be hoping that he really gets his season going tonight here at Snetterton. Coming through this last final part of the circuit, Howard, very easy, very high speed, but very easy to make a mistake through this part of the circuit.
Yeah, really, really difficult through this. I've always struggled with this sector on frankly, any sim that I've tried this circuit with, and getting it stopped in time there for Murray's, which Hicks did fairly well there. Yeah, it's a challenge after coming through the long right-hander. It's a really tricky sequence of corners. And where does that effort put him? That is... that's him coming onto his time lap, isn't it?
Yep.
That was his out lap. There we go. I'm all over what's going on in qualifying, as you can tell. But yeah, no. Hopefully got himself up to temperature and ready to put in a good lap.
Indeed. I think we've got about 3 minutes of this session to go, so I'm not sure that Hicks is going to be able to get 2 flying laps in here. There is Henry Mackenzie-Friedman. That isn't a problem. That is Henry Mackenzie-Friedman having already completed 2 flying laps and has gone into P4. There is Mike Hart, who's currently in 12th place. This is the first run of the year for Mike Hart in the GT3s. Mike was not running at Silverstone was it about 5 weeks ago. Matt Salmon yet to complete a lap time in the intermediate class. You can see that with the flashes of green on the wing mirrors and also the end plates of the rear wing. And where has Matt gone? Oh, so Matt's gone into 33rd place. That was the end of his second flying lap. Cameron Watson back with us tonight, Howard. And good to see him in the BMW, one of the clubmans with the blue denotations there, and a driver who impressed us a lot in 2023.
Yeah, definitely a driver who had a really good 2023, and there takes himself straight up into 20th place with that effort. Quite a few drivers, I think, Andrew, falling foul of well, invalid lap times basically on their first run through, because many drivers there not setting a time until the very end there. And we've got a few other drivers out there just coming towards the end of their run. This is Dan Gamblin heading towards the line.
Is indeed. Where does Gamblin go? In the BMW, I think he stays P29. Currently got 41 drivers in the lobby. So it's going to be very, very interesting out there, particularly if a driver qualifies out of position. Here is Andy Alston, another one of the new drivers who's going to the pit lane. He's already completed his 2 flying laps, was P11, or still is P11. Mike Hart, I think, also has completed 2 flying laps and is going to be P13. And once again, well, we've seen this in both rounds so far this season. It's interesting, when we had the BUKC iRacing trophy earlier in the year, we were saying about, we've not got any clubmans. Where have all the clubmans gone? Well, they've all come back now for the main series, and a lot of them new drivers to the championship, the likes of Adam Delmont and Ollie Davies, Will Blackwell Chambers, Andy Alston. It would have been unfair to say, right, stick them straight into Premier and going up against the reigning champion Kieran Harrison. But it does mean that the clubman class, I would say, is the most competitive. There's a lot of depth there in that part of the class structure. Mike Hart stays P13. I think Steve Hicks is still out there circulating in the number 4. Here is Mike Hart, one of those premiers. 2-part grading system. Firstly, on the sustained I rating of a driver over a period of time, and then also their known historic performance in Club 100 iRacing Championships. And Hicks goes P15 with that one. I think that is everybody over the line. Lawrence Vines has, unfortunately, had to withdraw from tonight's racing. He's got internet issues. That is the end of qualifying. Howard, take us through the grid if you can.
Certainly, yeah. Kieran Harrison then continuing his momentum on pole position here for race number 1. Adam Brown alongside, good showing there from the head of the clubman ranks there to get second on the grid. Adam State and Henry Mackenzie Friedman are next. Matt Kendall and Adam Delmont are on row 3. It's Jack Eyre and Josh Mitchell next on row 4. Ollie Davies and Will Blackwell Chambers, rounds out your top 10. Andy Alston and Murray Adams on row 6 for 11th and 12th. Then it's Mike Hart and the first of our intermediate drivers in the form of Finley Brunton on 14th place on the grid. Steve Hicks and Will Doyle next. Magnus Riddervold and Sam Spinale are on row 9. James de Havilland and Tim Penny round out your top 20. Then it's Cameron Watson and Matthew Davies, Yusuf Bin Sahel and Tom Dix. Then it's John Adey and Matthew Shawnee, the highest place of the rookie drivers there. Sam Dibelow and Craig Brown are your 14th row of the grid, with Dan Gamblin and Joel Julius rounding out your top 30. James Fremont and Aidan Bliss are row 16. Harrison Chapman and Simon Delamere are next up, with Matt Hale and Matt Salmon on row 18. This is like doing BUKC groups, this. It's Eric Mignon and Lawrence Vines on row 19. João Castro and Andrew Dawson round out your top 40, and then Tom Holland rounds out the 41 car grid for this first race of the evening.
So 40 minutes for everybody out there. They will, because it's dry, end up having to do a pit stop at some point across the course of this race. When they choose to do that, totally up to them. That could be another key of tonight's races, particularly if overtaking is at a premium. Drivers who are a bit out of position perhaps in terms of qualifying may elect to pit early, give themselves some clear air and work themselves up the order later on in the race. Pace car will take us round from the back straight here, eventually through the bomb hole, and then on to Coram Corner and then Murray's to get this race underway. Quite a long run to the line, which is good news for everybody. We'll give them a chance to get a bit of heat into the tyres, heat into the brakes. I'm really excited for this one, Howard. New circuit for the drivers, 40 of them out on circuit. Great to see attendance high once again in the Club100 iRacing Championship. This should be a good fun race.
Yeah, this one's going to be a really interesting one. Nice to have the 40-minute race, the longer format, if you like, that we have here to get us bedded in to this circuit, as well as the drivers here at this Snetterton 300 loop that we're going to be running. And yeah, as you say, mate, the pit strategy as well. There's plenty of factors here to give us an entertaining race. The first challenge, though, of course, is for them to navigate lap 1, which we've already mentioned about the tight nature of this circuit. They're going to need to have their wits about them here for lap number 1.
They are indeed. Let us know who you're supporting in the YouTube chat. We'll call in with that as and when we can. Kieran Harrison, though, starts on pole position. The number 1, the reigning champion, has won both rounds so far this year. Adam Brown, the clubman driver, alongside him on the front row. We are green and racing at Snetterton in the Club100 iRacing Championship for round 3 of the 24-25 season. Great start for Kieran Harrison through turn 1. 40 drivers sweep through Richards Corner. First braking zone, major braking zone of the Montreal hairpin. This is where the changes were made to Snetterton to make the 300 layout a few years ago. A side-by-side challenge between the two Lamborghinis. Adam Brown and Adam State for P2. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is still there as well, P4 in the blue Lamborghini. Still side-by-side between the two Lamborghinis, and there's a little bit of contact as they head into Agostini Corner, turn number 4. Adam Brown holds on to that one. This is great news straight away, Howard, for Kieran Harrison. He's away and gone by 1.6 seconds, but some more like touring car racing happening there between the Lamborghinis than GT racing.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth there, Andrew. It's very reminiscent of a touring car battle there. The battle of the two Adams in their Lamborghinis. And Adam State now under pressure from Henry Mackenzie Friedman, having been bested by Adam Brown there. So Adam State now having to deal with pressure from Friedman and indeed from Matt Kendall as someone's going off to driver's left. We had drama, by the way, before the start line as well, in the form of, and it's Magnus Riddervold who's off to drivers left there as they're heading down the back straight towards, well, down the Bentley straight, that is. But we had drama for Cameron Watson as well, Andrew, before they even got to the start line there. There was something very odd that happened in the mid-pack as they rolled up to the line. So already we've had drama and a few drivers having to lick their wounds as we come round to finish lap number 1.
Indeed, so it's a lead of nearly 2 seconds for Kieran Harrison over Adam Brown. Good starts as well for Matt Kendall. Matt Kendall up to 4th place. He's been second in, second in the races at Silverstone that kicked off this season. Henry Mackenzie Friedman, who joined the Club 100 iRacing ranks earlier on in the season at the BUKC iRacing Trophy, and has already secured his place in this championship, virtue of being the top newcomer in that one. Problems for Aidan Bliss, it looks like. Tyre problems for Tom Dix as well in the orange and blue McLaren. Drivers who are suffering some issues out there. We're on lap number 2 then, and well, for Tom Dix that's not a good start at all, and it also means that for race number 2 he'll have his work cut out through the field. So the results from this race will set the grid for race number 2. On board with Josh Mitchell. Been very impressed with Josh Mitchell so far this season, Howard. Was lightning quick last time out of the GT3s at Silverstone and has got a good number of points on the board already. He's one of the properly strong contenders in the Clubman category, in my opinion. Hasn't got the highest I rating of those in the Clubman category, but has got experience of Club 100 iRacing competitions in the past, and I think so far at this early stage of the season that's served the Scottish driver very well.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's right in the thick of it here. You mentioned how competitive the Clubman class is, and as you say, he's already having a strong start to the season in what is a very strong category. Here at the moment he's running 4th in class. Was challenging Jack Eyre in the mid part of that last lap, but has, if anything, fallen back just a little bit over the last sector or so. Needs to be careful he doesn't fall into the clutches of Ollie Davis there in the number 163. But I'm loving it. Can I mention that I really like the confectionery advertised by that livery? I'm very partial to those.
It's a very good one indeed, and it's legal. It's got the mandatory stickers on it, so it's legal.
It is legal to consume that, yes. No, sorry. Yes. Just
looking down into the Clubman classes, Finley Brunson's had another good start as well. Another one of the new drivers into the championship this year. And the 213 is in 15th place at the moment, and it's his adversary from the first couple of rounds as well, Matthew Davies, who's in second. Not such a good start for Yusuf Bin Sahel. Yusuf Bin Sahel, who's looked quick at times in the intermediate class, but has had a few problems along the way, particularly in the MX-5s at Suzuka last time out. He's made a very early pit stop, as here is a battle for 3rd place, is it not? Into Brundle's corner, and through goes Matt Kendall into 3rd place. Adam State has lost out in all of that, so Friedman has stayed in P4. Kendall has gained 2 places on this lap, as off is Murray Adams. Murray Adams off through the bomb hole, has got back onto circuit, but is down to 18th place. Not sure what happened there. Not sure if we can get a look at a replay of what happened there with Murray Adams. But that, well, if it was a mistake, that was very uncharacteristic mistake. Here it was. Oh, it was a mistake. He just had a snap of oversteer there. Did he take too much curb on driver's left through Brundle and towards Nelson Corner? You do not see those mistakes happen very often from Murray Adams. He's got it back on circuit, but is now down in P17.
That is extremely uncharacteristic from Murray. Just a weird one there as he went through Brundle. Just seemed to, well, yeah, was it just a twitch of oversteer, or did he clip the sort of inner curb that you're not really supposed to go over? And he's squirreling around on the grass as well. He's not entirely happy at the wheel of that Porsche at this moment in time.
No, not at all. Tim Penny's having a go down the inside of James de Havilland, I just saw in the background there in the bright, seen blue and green Nomad Porsche. Matthew Shawnee's had a really good start as well, Howard. I've just noted there that the rookie's up in P21. That is a tremendous start for Matthew Shawnee, early points leader in the rookie category. And I tell you what's impressed me so far with Matthew Shawnee this season. It's great to see, and it's the purpose of the rookie category. There is a driver who is getting more consistent. The speed was clearly there in the BUKC iRacing Trophy earlier in the year, a 5-round championship held in the FF1600s, but a bit of a tendency for a spin and a mistake was the downfall for Shawnee. It's kept him in the rookie category for this championship, but he's starting to build with that confidence now. Here is a battle between Will Doyle and one of the Ferraris. That's going to be the 213 of Finley Brunton. You can tell with the green details there of the number board and the wing mirrors. Brunton side by side with Will Doyle. Will Doyle surely will have the inside line into turn 1 and through Riches. Brunton's going to have to hold on the outside. Murray Adams is going to be having a go now. Once again, though, Finley Brunton getting in amongst the clubmans. That is very impressive for a driver brand new to this championship.
Yeah, and doing so as they went through the long right-handed leading up to Murray's, and they managed to go through Murray's with some side-by-side overlap there. So great racing room and respect given by the two drivers there. And as you say, Drew, fantastic from Finley to be getting in amongst these drivers, demonstrating why he's doing so well early on this season in that intermediate category.
Absolutely. There is a driver in 4th place. So Matt Kendall's disappeared down the road here and is off in the search of Adam Brown's 2nd place. Looking from the rear axle of Henry Mackenzie Friedman, blasting through 200 kilometers an hour, up through the gears. Fixed setups, of course, for all of these competitors. The same setup that you would get in the GT fixed sprint races in the public lobbies on iRacing. So we know that the fuel in these cars is probably going to go about 25 to 30 minutes before drivers need to come in. And right now for these drivers at the front of the field, Howard, it's a very simple strategic play, I think. Stay out there, keep your track position. You don't want to drop back into all of that traffic from pretty much 20th place down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They really don't want to be catching themselves out with the traffic, because there's another look, is there, here from Adam State on Friedman. He's got alongside. He'll have the inside line at the Montreal hairpin. And he's got that move done nicely. That was a nice move there for 4th place for the driver of the number 18.
Good racing, really good racing. Oh, is there a problem for Adam Delmont? Is there damage on the rear left of that Porsche? Adam Delmont was in 6th place. But whatever's happened there has happened in the last few moments for another one of the new drivers. Let's have a look at it again. This was out of the Montreal hairpin. And oh yeah, there was contact. There was contact with one of the Rethink Racing Lamborghinis there. Delmont gets back into the race, but that is not good news for the driver of the 177, who had issues at Suzuka in the rain in the MX-5s. And I wonder, now that may be the one reason that you do go into the pits in the early stages of this race if you're in the top 15. If you've got some damage, everybody has one fast repair to play with. Do you dive in now, get the car fully repaired, and start setting some fast lap times again?
You'll have to see. It'll be eyes on stalks and all of his other senses on hyper alert as well, trying to detect what the situation is with his Porsche GT3 car. Still one of my favourites on the service, I have to say.
Just wondering further down the order, Howard. Yes, Delmont's it. I think that's the right choice. If there's damage on the rear diffuser for the, well, he's got to come in and make a pit stop anyway. We're 10, 11 minutes into this race. A full tank of fuel. Fuel tank size is limited, but getting up to that limit will give Delmont a run all the way to the end of the race. Here's João Castro. Some really good speed for Castro last time out in the MX-5s at Suzuka. This is the first time that we've seen one of our junior drivers from the in real life Club 100 Racing Championships in a GT3 piece of machinery though, and it seems to be making some nice progress here. Howard is up into the top 30.
Yeah, indeed, and the reason I highlight him is just before, well, for a split second there, just before Adam Delmont emerged from the pits just ahead of him. He's your highest position pit caller so far. Adam Delmont has re-emerged just ahead of him up the road, some 3 seconds ahead of him here, but still interesting for Castro at this point. Oh, going to work if that happens though, and that's off through driver error there as he came through Palmer. Oh gosh, is that? Oh, we're going to add that to the commentator's curse. I was about to say how he was sitting pretty there, but at least he didn't make contact with the barriers and is back on the road. But he hasn't actually lost position to any of the pit callers. He's still the second highest position car that's been to the pits. But he now has the attentions of one other one, a certain Cameron Watson, who's on a recovery drive, Andrew. I'm sure it was he who I saw spiralling off into the barriers before they even got past the start line at the beginning of the race. So that's why he opted for the early pit and is now trying to work his way back up through the field.
I think I just saw Joel Julius going wildly off circuit as well there. That might have been my eyes deceiving me, but yeah, it's catching some drivers out here. Now, what has happened here to Joel Julius? That looks like some kind of mechanical issue, perhaps, with Julius's equipment. And yeah, immediately toes to pit lane and looks to be out of this race. That is a real shame. Here is a bit of a side-by-side battle between, this is going to be Simon Delamere and Adam Delmont. So Delmont back out on circuit, but with a bit of traffic. Delamere, one of the rookies. Delmont's going to go around the outside. Lovely stuff there from Adam Delmont. He's now got 12 seconds of air up ahead of him. This will be a key phase of this race now for Adam Delmont to get back up to speed, get some good lap times in, hope that others in the top half start scrapping a bit, and then in terms of a delta time recovery, can hopefully pull himself back to the top 10 once we get to the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, one of the a really important aspect of this race now for Adam Delmont and anyone who's pitted is picking their way now through this, the drivers that they catch up to efficiently as they can, so as not to lose time. He is in a race with cars well up the road at the moment and hoping that once they pit, he's through adversity. He didn't mean to have to pit when he did. He pitted with damage, but he's going to hope to turn this one into an advantage once the pit cycle comes around for his competitors up front.
So we're just coming up to the 15-minute point of this first race of the evening. There is Dan Gamblin, who's taken to the pit lane and heads back out on circuit. Here's your race leader. 5 seconds the advantage for Kieran Harrison. But Howard, now is something that's maybe going to be a little bit more difficult for Kieran Harrison, because we were talking earlier, weren't we, about Suzuka, Silverstone, big, wide circuits, Grand Prix circuits, quite easy to get through past the traffic. That is not going to be the case here at Snetterton. He's going to need the back markers to be even more compliant than usual. And I think that's Eric Mignon. He's just gone past there. That was some good driving from Eric just to keep out for the way of the race leaders. But that's going to be something that will come into play tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's all right there with just the the one car to worry about, and he has got some 5 seconds lead over Adam Brown, who's doing a stellar job in second place, running in clean air himself at the moment. But yeah, as he gets onto if he gets onto the denser traffic, as it were, there may be a strategic call here to be made, and there may be an interesting strategic call to be made for those pursuing him. If they go, well, he reckons he can get through this traffic, I'm going to bank on him not. And in some ways you may as well, because let's be honest, all things being equal at this point, Kieran had the ideal start on lap 1 with Adam Brown and Adam State battling in amongst themselves, and since then he's controlled this well and opened up a tidy gap. if you want to overhaul or have a chance of overhauling Mr. Harrison at this point, and you're a fellow competitor, you might want to be trying something a bit creative. Just to, you know, if you do the same thing as your competitors, you'll get the same result as you were at the midpoint in the race, right? So it'd be interesting to see if anyone tries something different as Kieran uses all of the limits around this Snetterton 300 layout. But yeah, going to be interesting to see what those behind him do.
Well, I say
and they're all clustered as well, so are they losing time by being in amongst each other as well?
the only free bit of track out there at the moment is the gap immediately ahead of the race leader, and at the moment as the race leader is going through Brundle, the end of those still on the lead lap are just coming through Murray's. That was a quick sight, I think, of possibly Matthew. No, it won't be Matthew Davies. Matthew Davies is still in P17.
It was Sam Dimolo was emerging from the pit lane.
So Dimolo's made his pit stop. Here's Adam Brown, who is the next driver needing to find. And this again, this can all be down to just a bit of luck of the draw of where you catch the traffic. Not much that Eric Mignon can do there. It's a very tight part of the course through Murray's. Adam Brown will flash the lights, not particularly happy about that, but to be fair to Mignon, it's not really a part of the circuit where you can just jump out the way.
Yeah, I mean, to catch traffic like that on Murray's at Murray's corner, I mean, Kieran Harrison caught Eric on the Bentley straight pretty much, so he got a bit of a free pass there, but yeah, nothing that Mignon could really do there. Adam is definitely in, well, he'll be in pursuit mode, but he'll also be wanting to maintain that gap to Matt Kendall behind. But yeah, you've just got to be patient here, and yeah, as you were saying but a moment ago, this is not Silverstone. You just have to have that patience a bit longer, because if you have that, it will pay you back. It will pay you back, because other competitors around you may be just that little bit less patient, and all of a sudden you gain a few seconds on them. Indeed.
Good evening to Cam Biggs, who's said hello in the chat. Let us know where you're all watching from in the YouTube comments, and particularly if you've tuned in to watch a new driver or an existing driver. Here's a new driver, Magnus Riddervold. First race for Riddervold in the Club100 iRacing Championships, and he's taking on John Adey. These are two intermediate drivers. Riddervold down the inside of John Adey there. This is in the two Ferraris, and if you can pull that one off, that's a lovely move through Agostini corner. Nicely done by Riddervold. John Adey falls to P23 and raced that one very, very fairly, and that's what we want to see. Good, hard racing, in control drivers as well out there, and Magnus Riddervold will now set about trying to catch up to Craig Brown ahead for P21.
So that'll do for a debut broadcasted overtake, won't it? That was a lovely move there from Riddervold, and gets himself up to 22nd place. And 4th place in class as well, I believe. So really good. He is one of our Inter drivers. I believe I'm right in saying. Yes, the graphic there on the timing tower doesn't quite give him the right colour, but you can tell from the green details on his rear wing and his wing mirrors that he is in that Inter's class, and holding up well there against the competition so far.
Absolutely. Just keeping an eye on the track map of where people are as Cameron Watson goes down the inside of Simon Delamere for P25. Race leader is just coming out and through Williams corner now. And yeah, that gap to the next bit of traffic is closing. I just wonder whether Kieran Harrison might go for a slightly earlier pit stop than normal to avoid some of that traffic, or say maybe back himself, because if he pits early, he's going to throw himself back into that group, probably around Sam Spinale, Will Doyle, Murray Adams. It'll just be fuel that the drivers take. They won't put new tyres on, because anyone who's been on iRacing knows that cold tyres are like ice. You'd rather take a warm set. That's a worn set is, for the sake of a 10-minute stint at the end of a 40-minute race, is going to be miles better than taking a new set of boots. Here we are on board with Matthew Davies. Getting the wing with the wiper going there. It's not wet out there, Matthew. But this is a good fight. I've enjoyed this duel so far this season, Howard. The Brunton v Davies fight. I don't think the other drivers in intermediates have too much because they've been the cut above the rest, which can happen sometimes in a class system like this. But Brunton and Davies looking like on early form that they're going to be the drivers fighting over the intermediate spot in the free drives. And of course there's iRacing dollars on the line as well.
Yep.
For those who finish in the top few positions. That's all for the end of the season though. Right now we're going to enjoy these drivers getting their teeth into this Snetterton circuit. This is for 16th place, 1.7 seconds behind Murray Adams, who we saw having problems earlier.
Yeah, I've been keeping half an eye on Murray Adams on the timing page and not seen any dramas since. So just a bit of an unusual. I mean, I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I've driven GT3s on iRacing, but the Porsche can sometimes, from experience at certain phases in the tyre life, get a bit. He's feeling more comfortable now.
Race leader is going to catch traffic, I think, in the next lap or so. Howard, just seeing Kieran Harrison come over the line there. 8.7 seconds is the gap, and there you see the start of the major traffic going through turn number 1. Here's your battle for 6th place. Josh Mitchell in the Caramel Porsche. Jack Eyre in the Rethink Racing Lamborghini, and on board with, for a moment there, with Will Blackwell Chambers. So it's Mitchell, Eyre, Ollie Davies and Will Blackwell Chambers. Porsche, Lamborghini, Porsche, Porsche here in this fight for 2nd place in Clubman. Sorry, not that correct order, because, oh, is that a moment running wide? I think that's Eric Mignon just moving out of the way. As I say there, I've mistakenly added another Porsche in all of that. It's Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche. And then Mike Hart in the McLaren, not too far behind, nicely getting on with things, back up into the top 10. Good to see.
Yeah, really good, and I have to say I've been very impressed by this pack. You can see there on our track map, you know, from sort of Josh Mitchell down, they're not, okay, so they're not nose to tail, couldn't put a cigarette paper between them, but there's a really strong mid-pack here from about 6th place down to, say, from James de Havilland down in 17th place. They're just pacing each other really nicely at this point in the race. You know, this longer format of race means it's not all about having these wheel-to-wheel battles every single lap, although as I say that, I have to say Jack Eyre getting very close to the back of Josh Mitchell seems strong through this part of the lap, Andrew, because it's a lap since we picked them up, and it was at that point that I thought Jack Eyre was going to fire a move, to be honest, on Josh Mitchell. He seems to be very comfortable. That Lamborghini seems to be hooked up nicely in the last sector of this Snetterton circuit.
Does indeed. 15 minutes of this race to go. A bit more pit activity going on. I think Matt Salmon has been in and out for some service. Gets back out onto the circuit. Josh Mitchell holding 6th place right now, and the circuit as well, I fully agree there. The Lamborghini does look a little bit quicker through the high-speed sections. Slightly longer wheelbase will be helping it through that part of the course where you need that stability. In the tighter parts of the circuit, through Murray's, through the infield as well, and the Montreal hairpin, that will lend itself towards the Porsche that perhaps, well, in theory, can turn a little bit quicker on its nose. But with the fixed setups, everyone running to a balance of performance class as well. Here's Sam Spinell. Not seen Sam Spinell too much so far tonight. He's in 19th place. Not quite in tune yet with the circuit. Runs a bit wide there out of Palmer.
I'll tell you who has seen him though, his pit crew. He has visited the pit lane, and he is now the highest placed car to have pitted in this race. Murray Adams too, just behind him, has also been to the pits. So still something to keep an eye on here. Of this, I was giving a shout out to that sort of 6th down through to 17th. Important to note that you've got this cluster of cars further back on the fringes of the top 20 who have got their pit stop done, thank you very much, and now are just trying to run at a nice, consistent, competitive pace to bring themselves back up once the pit stops cycle through for the others.
That's not a bad piece of work then by Sam Spinell under the radar. As into the pits comes Jack Hare. I wonder if this is a bit of an attempt at an undercut. Steve Hicks is in as well for a bit of fuel, because Jack Hare was looking quicker than Josh Mitchell but just couldn't find a way through. In as well is James de Havilland in the black Ferrari. Away goes Jack Hare. This is a really key outlap now. Again, it'll most likely be on worn and warm tyres, but with a bit of extra fuel now to get through to the end of the race. Jack Hare has got out ahead of Matthew Shawnee. That's nice strategy from Jack Hare. He's got to hit this lap hard now to try and make the difference over Josh Mitchell for this 6th place battle, 2nd place in the clubman category for this first race of 2 here this evening. Remember, it's 120 points in the championship for winning one of these races, and then a sliding scale down to 40th position. Still a little bit early in the year to start talking about dropped scores, but the system this year does reward consistency across the course of the evening. It's a whole evening that gets dropped at the end of the season, as opposed to a race or two spread across a variety of different race evenings. So Jack Hare continued to push on here, 15th place on the road, but that will improve once other drivers come in for their stops. I think Adam State is in the pit lane. Yes, he is. So Adam State's the first of the top 5 to come into pit lane. Interestingly, Mitchell goes on. That's an interesting call from Josh Mitchell. Andy Alston is in as well. 29 minutes done on the clock.
Interleader in as well. Finley Brunton takes to the pit lane and hands over the Inter's lead to Matthew Davis.
Tim Penny also in for the fuel stop. Gets away, and I think Tim Penny's actually... Oh, I thought he was going to get past Finley Brunton there. So where has Adam State come out relative to Jack Hare? I think he's got out ahead.
He has. He's quite a way ahead, actually, if timing is correct for me here. That's a gap of 14 seconds. That suggests to me that Jack Hare spent longer than he need be in the pit lane, frankly.
Yeah,
that's an interesting gap.
I tend to agree with you there. Something hasn't gone quite right there for Jack Hare. Rookie leader in and out. Matthew Shawnee, service for the first race of the evening complete. Comes back out P23, doing a very nice job indeed.
This is where it starts to come back for people like Sam Spinell. Here he is now on the tail of Andy Alston, not long out of the pits. So is Spinell up to speed? But, as you say, presumably everyone's sticking with tyres, not risking the icy tyres. But what pressure can Spinell bring to bear as the lead pack, Andrew, are into the pit lane? In fact, Harrison already out.
Yeah, everybody who hasn't pitted already is now coming in. With less than 10 minutes of this race to go, everybody looking pretty routine at the moment. Harrison back out, Brown retains 2nd place, Matt Kendall into 3rd. This could be a key moment though. Adam State running down. I think Adam State is going to take 3rd place. Brilliant work from Adam State. Has turned this around, and with that slightly different strategy, has jumped Matt Kendall and Henry Mackenzie Friedman.
Yeah, well played there from Adam State. Really nice stuff there. I have to say though, well, here's another fight as well with Will Blackwell Chambers just out the pits. Jack Hare, he clearly had some drama on his pit stop, Andrew. We wondered if he was going to try and overhaul Josh Mitchell. He's now a couple of spots back, trying not to make that 3 spots back if he can hold off Blackwell Chambers for 8th place. But yeah, something didn't quite work out for Jack Eyre in that pit stop sequence. But at least he has been able for now to hold on to 8th place.
Yeah, I just wonder if there was maybe a bit of trouble with traffic as well out there, because everything's chopping and changing at the moment. Sam Spinale is still tucked under the rear axle of Andy Alston's Lamborghini right now, although he's going to have a look down the inside. That's a bold one on the brakes. But it looks like Spinale, the former BUKC champion, has made it work. Bit of door banging as they run through the next couple of corners. Beautifully done there by Sam Spinale. Andy Alston did not want to give that one up. Well, Sam Spinale got some of his Coventry Ring Road driving out there to hold on to that one and take 12th place.
Yeah, now Steve Hicks fancies a go at Andy Alston after his rhythm got upset by Spinale going through. Couldn't quite make the move stick there as they reached Brundle. Now through this long right-hander at Coram, and then into Murray's. Haven't yet managed to catch the moment that Murray Adams has put a move through Murray's, but there's time.
Yes.
There's time.
There's time.
Oh, and this is the fight back now from Andy Alston, pulling alongside. We've got the best seats in the house here for Steve Hicks as they head towards turn number 1. It's going to have to take something bold though. On the outside is Alston. Oh, this is a brilliant little fight to be watching here. They somehow stay as they were into Montreal corner, but I really thought that was going to see some change in position there, but the fight goes on.
Hicks's eyes were wide there to a chance at the inside of Andy Alston, but I think quite wisely just pulled out of that one and remains in 14th place. But this is a really, really good scrap, and if this is your first time watching the Club 100 iRacing Championship, this is what it's been like so far this season. This really strong top 15, 20 drivers, this top division of drivers across the Premier and Clubman classes, with a few intermediates sprinkled in there for good measure, have been racing hard, door to door, wheel to wheel at Silverstone early this season in these GT3s, and then 3 weeks ago in the wet conditions at Suzuka in the MX5s, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue throughout the whole season, across the course of the rest of the autumn, through the winter and into the early spring. If you do want to get involved, we have still got a couple of places in the maximum entry of 50 available. Head over to SimGrid, Club 100 Racing on the SimGrid host pages. Follow and get involved. Eligibility counts for those with the Club 100 racing history. Same for those with the BUKC racing history. Current British Pro Kart Endurance Championship drivers, those part of a university-affiliated society with the BUKC, and also those with a Motorsport UK eSports licence.
Here's something that I don't think we covered, Andrew, in the pits. I think it was through the pit stops that Matthew Davies overhauled Finlay Brunton for the lead of intermediate class. That is something Brunton wants to rectify here. He's going to be on the outside here for Montreal, but he might get a bit of a switch back there. Going to be difficult to do anything with that before the next left-hander at Palmer, but he's trying every which way he can, isn't he, to be in the wing mirrors of Davies ahead of him. Say, yeah, I'm here, sunshine. I want my class lead back, thank you very much.
It's not too long to get it done. We're into the last 5 minutes on time of this one. Tim Penny watching there in 19th place. Bit of a quiet race for James de Havilland in the 157 so far in this race, but his Ferrari is in the top 20 as things stand. Race lead is 10 seconds. Kieran Harrison. How do we slow him down? What do we do? Because we threw rain at him last time. That didn't faze him. We've thrown a new, very different circuit in terms of what we've seen so far in the Club 100 iRacing Championship at him tonight, and that doesn't seem to faze him. And it's to be expected, as he was our champion last year in this multi-discipline championship. And for the rest, they've got some thinking to do. They're going to get on level terms with the championship leader. Here is Magnus Riddervold again. Yusuf Binzer Hale just ahead. in the 275. And here's Ferrari. Vince Hale trying to make a way past Raul Castro here. This is for 26th place. On board with Vince Hale. This is going to be a brave one around the outside. I didn't think that would work. Contact between both cars through Brundle and through Nelson. That was a bit of an ambitious one at first look there to me, Howard. Very quick corner, very brave one to try and go around the outside into turn 9.
Yeah, absolutely. Round the outside at Brundle is not very often said in the recollection of a successful move around this Snetterton circuit. What was that moment when the camera, an onboard camera, phases with another car and you're like, oh, is that, how close is that? The answer was very. And possibly too much.
It's still not done yet.
Riddervold, yeah, it's still not done yet. I have to say, Riddervold has played this one really well. He didn't allow the ruckuses ahead of him to slow him up. He sort of kept it controlled and kept it on the grey stuff. And if anything, he now stands to benefit, but not in that kind of contact. That's not gonna. That is not going to be looked on particularly positively. And now, out of all of this, ironically, it may indeed be Castro who led this pack in the first place, who emerges here, because now he's going to put the pressure on Riddervold.
Yeah, I'm going to put that one down to experience. That was the classic little one. There may have been a bit of netcode in there. I'm sure that one will be picked up by the automated observers and looked at in due course. Any penalties that are required are all handed post-race for these GT3 races. On board with Steve Hicks, Andy Alston and P13 ahead of us. And this has been more like it from Steve Hicks. Steve, by his own admission, isn't expecting to run at the sharp end of the Premiers this season. He's become a dad, and you know, Mr. Mitchell, how much that can affect your sim racing.
It's slowed me down almost immeasurably, to be perfectly frank, in many ways. But yes, it's a blessing in many respects, but probably not in terms of pace. So
chance to practice.
But yes, that's the other aspect.
Chances to practice are limited, but
they are.
But Hicks is going to use all of his experience to. Oh no, that's well, no, that's Murray Adams on the inside. Where did Murray come from there? That was remarkable from Murray Adams. Maybe a bit unconventional, but he made it work, and I think he's just got 2 for the price of 1 there. Adam Delmont's going to get involved here as well in the SRL Porsche, the black and yellow machine. This is all getting a little bit frisky into and through Brundles, and round half spin there for Hicks. Spoke too soon, gets back on circuit, but he's going to lose 4 or 5 places.
Yeah, and I think, was that Simon Delaunay? There was some traffic or somebody who got caught up in that, unfortunately, as well, and just lost a little bit of time as well, although they've kept going. I'm just going to look back to this move. That is a massive move from Murray Adams. Here it is again. Bit of contact with Steve Hicks. This was that was into Oggies, and then pulls alongside and is by on Andy Alston as well there. That's a very opportunistic move. Yes, there was some contact, but if fairness, I don't think Steve Hicks knew he was there.
No, I think
so far back.
I think that may have been Hicksy going, why are you there? Why have you taken my space for my own overtake on Andy Alston? Love a bit of admin team versus admin team racing there. And we are on the last lap. Leader is coming through the bomb hole now.
I have to say, I don't think Hicksy realises, but he's after all that drama, he's right slap bang in the middle of the class lead battle in intermediates. He's now a rear gunner to Matthew Davies in that regard.
Is indeed. Well, Kieran Harrison is going to win once again. This is very impressive work from Kieran Harrison, who has got things on point in the Lamborghini and takes victory in the first race of the evening. It's going to be by some 12 seconds ahead of Adam Brown, who's going to score very nicely indeed in the Clubman category. He's going to, of course, need to deliver in the second race as well to make sure that those points can be banked in. Adam State takes P3. Matt Kendall P4. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is going to come round to finish in 5th place. And then take your pick who's going to finish where in the rest of the top 10 and make that the top 15. Josh Mitchell takes P6 ahead of Ollie Davies, Jack Eyre, Will Blackwell Chambers, Mike Hart will be P10, Will Doyle P11, Sam Spinale with some nice strategy there, worked his way up to P12. Adams, Alston and Delmont all in the top 15. Matthew Davies is your first intermediate home in P16. Steve Hicks records a top 20, will start from the middle of the pack for the second race later this evening. Finley Brunton, second of the Clubmans in 18th, ahead of Tim Penny and James de Havilland. Cam Watson on his return to Club 100 iRacing takes P21. Here is your driver. This is a brilliant result for Matthew Shawnee. Top rookie and has beaten a number of intermediates there as well. That has got to be one of the most solid drives from Matthew Shawnee so far in his Club 100 Sim Racing Championships career. Craig Brown, Sam Dimolo and John Adey all in the top 25. Magnus Riddervold on debut is P26 ahead of Yusuf Bin Sahel, who's going to be your last driver on the lead lap, I think. James Fremont, João Castro, Matt Hale. That's a way of finishing, Yusuf. That is. Well, he'll get some incident points for that. We'll leave that to iRacing's automated stewarding service. Who else finished in that one? Tom Dix, P31. Simon Delamere off the lead lap as well. But good first race there, Howard, but a lot for the field to think about. The big question is, how on earth are they going to close in a 12.3 second gap to Kieran Harrison? He's looking in imperious form.
Yeah, absolutely. Just very much dominated that one. You took the word from my mouth, and I was going to use the word imperious. It is very impressive stuff. The question has to be, can anyone overhaul? They kind of need to all set their sights on it at the start of the next race. If they're really going to do this, they have to hound him right from the beginning. But there is a sense of just the pace that he has as well, that he was able to lay down in the early phase of that race. We didn't really talk too much about his pace, but you don't open up that gap by being slow.
No.
So it is a big challenge for these drivers to think about how they're gonna, can they bring a fight to him in the next race, and if not, how are they going to take the challenge to him for the rest of this season? Plenty of opportunity across different machinery, of course, and very different circuits. But yeah, Kieran Harrison having a fantastic start to this season.
Is indeed. It's 10-minute warm-up / free practice for the drivers to take a breather and try some things out before the next race. We'll be back shortly. Keep it locked here on the DDMM YouTube channel for more racing in the Club 100 iRacing Championship. and there it is. Eyes on those lights. They're coming on 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. The KZ third heat is go. Good start for Albanese. He's going to hold the lead into turn 1 ahead of Gustafsson. The rest of the field filing through. Good start down into turn 2 and turn 3. The race result because of Mottram's penalty, but Daniel Munro has had this titanic duel with Rory O'Regan this year. It wasn't Rory's day, but it is Daniel Munro's day. Daniel Munro wins at Rye House and is champion for the 2nd year in a row in a Club 100 juniors category. Yeah, and always going to switch back here to the inside. That's a beautiful move by Reed on the inside through Park. Showed a bit of a dummy there to Carl Garnett. Brave stuff from the championship leader. That's him up to 3rd before. As there is Hugo Schwarzer out of the race. Well, we were talking about Slater needing to outscore Schwarzer by 10 points. As Charlie Hart's off and into the grass, catches it up and somehow keeps himself in 2nd place and pointing in the right direction. Fernandez has lost the position. I think it's Seaworthy who's come through into 2nd place. What a moment. Push on these tyres. We've seen it throughout the weekend that the Maxxis compound really rewards a driver, but he's going to have to take a lot of energy out of himself and the cars as we look at a replay here of Martinez and Leisen side by side into turn 1. Wow. Really close there. Bit of contact between the two of them. And Martinez up on the curb. This is another replay. This time it's Craigie versus Martinez into the same portion of the circuit. There you see Martinez trying to go around the outside, gets off the rubbered in part of track, and that's where he loses out to Jack Island. It was right on the limit of adhesion for Schaufler. On the brakes down the inside, comes Dries van Langendonk, immediately retakes the lead at the next opportunity. Into turn 1, Menz is going to go down the inside. Big move from the Briton for Ricky Flynn Motorsport, and it's worked. Costoya goes through as well. Arias is now challenging Schaufler. It's all gone wrong for the Austrian. 3 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go. This is Dries van Langendonk's best opportunity now. He's got to go hard and break away from the rest of them, leave them fighting for 2nd place. Oh, it's down the inside, contact, and Lettimaki spins, and Schaufler retires both of them out. No points at all for the championship leader. Lettimaki is absolutely furious. That is the risk. 2 championship rivals side by side. Ovenden's got past Nicky Taylor, and now the sight that Alex Solly did not want to see this weekend. It started as an absolute disaster for Tom Ovenden, retiring on lap 1 of race 1. Now he finds himself side by side with Alex Solly heading towards Copse Corner. Harry Hickton's trying to make an overtake as well on Jack Byrne there, and I think he's pulled it off through Copse Corner. Side by side once again between Solly and Ovenden. Ovenden takes a hop across the curve. Moved by Buckley on Mackie. I think they're resigned to fighting for the last spot on the podium. Can Benjamin Maniac get another home victory? He looks the inside, and there's the near contact there. Through goes Benjamin Maniac. What a move through turn 4. Side by side, they're wheel banging through turn 12. It's still not done. 1 more corner to go. Pradir down the inside. Has he carried too much speed? He's got the control. Thomas Pradir's going to take it on the line, but here comes Maniac. Maniac on the line, and he takes it. Benjamin Maniac wins it with a classic at Swearer by 0.015. It's a home victory for the Spaniard, and he takes the lead in the championship. What a finish. It's not bad for either of them to the inside. Pritchard Williams, that's going to bring Hunter back into play. Connington back into play. Higgins, Lilly, McQueen, Bishop, Geraghty, Graham, Joshua Graham's back in this as well. That's down into Ashby. Teddy Pritchard Williams is trying to hold the ball up. Surely this is going to come to blows for someone. 3 wide. McQueen round the outside takes 4th place. That is experience. This is why he's been race winner in this race so many times, 3 times before. Can he find a way through? Back in comes Gilbert as well, over the curb again, jumping over that curb. Huge amount of it taken by Guy Cunnington. There's going to be 3 more laps of this one, ladies and gentlemen, and we still don't know. We haven't a clue who's going to be Open Champion for 2024. Hunter to the outside! Oh, no! And goes across the grass. Pritchard Williams spins out, and it's gone because Macaulay Bishop, the winner of the junior race last year, with 2 laps to go, Hunter is out. That is it. The run
for the last 2 years will not continue to 3, and it's 1, 2, 3 clear of the field. Gilbert defends the outside,
Bishop
around the outside. That is outrageous.
Me.
The junior champion from last year has done thousands of overtakes round Wilton Mill over the years. That may well be the best one he's ever done.
Welcome back, everybody, to Snetterton, live coverage of round 3 of this year's Club 100 iRacing Championship. Getting ready for the second race of the evening. We've already had Kieran Harrison continue his strong form so far in this season. Adam Brown take P2. Good bit of strategy as well from Adam State to take third in the previous race, and some good scraps in the rest of the clubman category, and for the win in intermediate, and a strong drive for Matthew Shawnee to be top rookie. Howard, getting ready for this next one. The grid will be the result of race number 1. Take us through it.
Absolutely, indeed. So, Kieran Harrison with that storming victory, dominant victory that we saw in race number 1, continues his impressive form this evening. Adam Brown alongside him. Will it be another interesting battle of the Adams off the race start here? Adam State starts third, Matt Kendall alongside. Henry Mackenzie Friedman and Josh Mitchell are your third row of the grid, with Ollie Davis and Jack Eyre on row 4. Will Blackwell Chambers and Mike Hart rounding out the top 10. Then it's Will Doyle and Sam Spinale on row number 6. Row 7 is where we find Murray Adams and Andy Alston. Adam Delmont had to pit early with a bit of damage there, but made it work for him largely there in 15th place. Matthew Davies, your highest placed Inter, off the back of that class win in the first race of the evening. Steve Hicks and Finley Brunton are next. Tim Penny and James de Havilland round out the top 20. There's Cameron Watson, who'll be hoping for a better time of things off the start compared to the first race. Matthew Shawnee was your rookie leader. Craig Brown and Sam Dimolo are next on row number 12. There's John Adey and Magnus Riddervold. Yusuf Bin Sahel and James Fremont, João Castro and Matt Hale round out your top 30. Tom Dix and Simon Delamere are next with Matt Salmon and Eric Mignon on row 17. Row 18 is Dan Gamblin and Jorrell Julius. Row 19 is Tom Dix and Simon... we've done that. Tom Holland and Aidan Bliss are next. Then it's Harrison Chapman and Lawrence Vines, and Andrew Dawson rounds out the 41-car grid. How is it that when I control the scrolling of the grid sheet, I don't keep up with myself? That's a new one. But there we go. We're ready for what promises to be, Andrew, another thrilling 40 minutes of racing here.
Does indeed. And, well, the start will be key to see, can anybody get ahead of Kieran Harrison? Because you feel with the form book at the moment, if Kieran Harrison breaks away, gets a bit of clean air, he will just relentlessly pull that gap up. Will there be any risks from Adam Brown taken at the start to try and get ahead, or will he look to consolidate that second place from earlier on in race number 1? Through Murray's we go then. Pace car will pull to driver's right into the pit lane. It'll be over to Kieran Harrison to get us started. He's gone early, and this time Adam Brown has read that. We're red lights, we're green lights, we're racing once again at Snetterton, and once more it is a fantastic start from Kieran Harrison. Side by side, almost between Adam Brown and Adam State, but this time Adam Brown has got second place all to himself by the time we've got to the Montreal hairpin. Side by side between State and Kendall. State has got P3. I think there's been a good start out there as well there was for Mike Hart, but he's just dropped back down from 9th place again into P10. Adam Brown has got to push hard, has got to put Kieran Harrison under pressure. if he's wanting that hope of taking a first win of the year. There, side by side, are Jack Eyre and Will Blackwell Chambers, and off goes Murray Adams. Murray Adams off. Tim Penny's round as well. I think Sam Spinell may have been involved. There's other cars now arriving on the scene, trying to dive left, right, and anywhere they can to get around the incident there. That was coming out of the Agostini hairpin. The 157 was round as well in all of that. Couldn't quite see from our vantage point as off goes Matt Salmon. Matt Salmon off into the wall. There was contact there with Murray Adams. This is not the start to race 2 that any of these drivers would have wanted. Oh, there's damage there. There's a lot of damage to that Ferrari of Matt Salmon. He's going to try and bring it back to the pits. Let's have a look at what happened there. Oh, I think Murray Adams was slightly out of shape, perhaps. Matt Salmon drifted from right to left, just, I think, to take the normal racing line, not expecting Murray Adams to be there, or as out of control, so very subtly out of control. Contact was made, and the result was Matt Salmon in the wall.
Yeah, it's what we saw earlier on as well.
Yeah, here's a look at what happened earlier on there. Craig Brown's in the middle of all of that, similarly with the back end of his Ferrari off. So a number of drivers in trouble, needing to make a very early pit stop. Murray Adams, Sam Dimolo involved. I think I saw also Joel Julius in that group as suffering in all of that. No problems for Kieran Harrison. 1 second is the lead. That is absolutely fine in his book. He'll look to build that up now. Adam Brown is P2. Adam State, Matt Kendall and Henry Friedman complete the top 5. Josh Mitchell, Ollie Davies, Will Blackwell Chambers, Mike Hart and Jack Eyre all in the top 10. Doyle, Alston, Delmont, Brunton and Hicks in the top 15. Great start for Joao Castro. Joao Castro must have been able to find a way through there, Howard, and is up to P16. Has gained 13 positions. That is tremendous stuff.
Yeah, really, really good start for Castro, and as you say, had to pick his way through some difficult moments, let's say, ahead of him on the road. So really good stuff there from the driver of the 210. As behind him, that is Cameron Watson getting by on Matthew Shawnee. I think that was them.
Indeed. I think Tom Dix also gained out of that melee. Tom Dix, who started towards the back of the field, is already knocking on the door of the top 20. New fastest lap of the race from Kieran Harrison, who's now starting to pull away. He was nearly 3/10 quicker than Adam Brown last time around. Into the Montreal hairpin goes the leader in the clubman category. This is the thing, though, because Adam Brown arguably should have taken some more points from Suzuka. Oh, he's off! Oh, he's off! Adam Brown spins, and just as we were saying he had problems at Suzuka and threw some points down the road, it's happened again. It's happened again. That is the pressure of the clubman category in 2024. But you have to be right on the edge to maximise your opportunities, and just too quick through Palmer. Spins out, gets back on the road. It's not a complete disaster, but an opportunity of beating some premiers, taking a big haul of points over Josh Mitchell, the leader in the clubman standings before at the start of the night. That is potentially gone now for Adam Brown. He will be kicking himself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those kind of unforced errors that can haunt a driver. It's just so easily done, and he was pushing really hard to try and keep Kieran Harrison in his sights. Not the, he's down, what is that, 6th in class?
Yep.
He's not completely out of this at all, but yeah, it's, well, I suppose it's important, therefore, that he doesn't kick himself too much, and he tries to regroup now, because it's a long race, and there's still opportunities here, but yeah, you're absolutely right, he will be kicking himself for that.
Well, I think the shame for those wanting a fight at the very front of the field, it could be over already, because Kieran Harrison's lead is now 2.8 seconds. Mike Hart down the inside. Mike, you've got an illegal livery. It's a lovely livery, but it hasn't got the mandatory Club 100 stickers on it. If you're watching this back later, please get it changed, mate. That's a nice move on Jaguar, down the inside, into P7.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Yeah, into Rich's corner. Turn 1 it was that move. But Jaguar keeping him honest, staying with him. So I think, yeah, Tom Dix is in the pit lane.
Oh, now I wonder. Now I was making a sigh as if this was a bad thing. This may be tactical from Tom Dix. He's going to need to conserve fuel a fair bit to get to the end with, what's that, 30, that's part of 34 minutes remaining on the clock, but that could be a shrewd move. Gets him out of some traffic. He wasn't around 20th place. Matt Hale on the screen. Not spinning.
Yes.
Before the start of tonight, Matt had not done a lap of Snetterton in a GT3 car. I'm mocking. It's doing pretty well. He's up 4 places from where he started. P26 is in this fight with James Fremont for this position. Eric Mignon just behind as well. We'll be looking forward to the NASCAR race in December. Or later on in the autumn. Oh, no, that's going to be a big one. That is going to be a huge, huge crash for Will Blackwell-Chambers. Gets it stopped on the apex, but what happened there? There was another car involved.
I think it was Adam Brown. Yeah, that's the 116.
Yeah. Well, that is not a good moment at all. Well, Blackwell-Chambers gets on the brakes to make sure that no other cars are involved, but you've got to think that there's going to be damage to that 143 Clapham North Porsche now.
How's that handling? I wonder. Bizarrely, I feel it's sort of... You know, you wouldn't know it on board, would you?
No.
You wouldn't know it at all. In fact, we're going for an overtake.
This is a thing at the moment with the GT3s in iRacing. That reminds me of an incident that we saw at Silverstone, and apologies, the exact drivers involved passed me by. So I won't name and shame for fear of getting the naming and shaming wrong. But it can be a thing with the GT3s at the moment. You can have 2 drivers both running in their local geometry, as it were, in a perfectly straight line, and the 2 cars can lock together. They can merge together almost within the sim space, and that kind of incident can happen. We saw it on the Wellington Straight at Silverstone during round number 1, so I'm sure that one will get looked at by SDK's automated reviewing system and reporting things to the race stewards.
It's looking a bit snub-nosed on the front. Is that Porsche?
And the other trouble now, Howard, is he's in traffic. He's in traffic. I reckon we see Will Blackwell-Chambers pit on this lap. No, he's going to carry on round.
It'll buff out. It's fine. That is surprising, given the dramatic scene that we saw a lap ago. Ahead of him on the road, though, side by side between João Gabriel Castro and Magnus Riddervold. And it's still side by side as they enter the braking zone for Montreal, but it stays with Castro for now.
Good scrap this. Good between the new drivers as well. João Castro, who's Dad Lavo raced in the BUKC iRacing Trophy earlier on in the year. It's Castro Jr. racing in this one. Ooh, down the inside looks Will Blackwell-Chambers. He's going to be frustrated now with all of this. The front end is not as good as perhaps it should be.
That might be the understatement of the day so far. Yeah, it's definitely got some issues, hasn't it?
Sam Dimolo having a decent run out there as well, Howard. He's
absolutely
running in the top 20.
Yeah, really good. Really good for Dimolo. As you say, for Blackwell-Chambers, he's in amongst this difficult Inters traffic, who themselves are having a fantastic competitive battle. And Close of Cameron Watson, James de Havilland, fellow classmates of his, not too far behind in this queue. So yeah, definitely a frustrating time for Will. I think you're saying, mate, there was no malice in it. It was just a high speed coming together there. Oh, and he has a little look at Sam Dimmerlode, or thinks about it maybe through Coram.
I'd get that car in, because even if it's at full pace and full trim, that is a lot of traffic that he's got to overtake on track. Dimmerlode, that's a wise decision, I think, from Sam Dimmerlode. Yeah. Get out of the melee, get out of the potential chaos, get the pit stop done. You can fuel from now all the way to the end of this 40-minute race. Cameron Watson has also taken the same option. Let's note this, they were all in around 20th place. These could be some very shrewd moves by these three drivers. Out onto track go, it's Sam Dimmerlode, Cam Watson, and James de Havilland again. Dimmerlode straight over onto the racing line, wants to make sure that he holds on to this track position. Cameron Watson, I think, is going to have a little look down the inside into Montreal. Potentially not a bad spot, though, for Dimmerlode to sit in, because I would, no disrespect to Sam, I would expect Cameron Watson to be a bit quicker at this stage of the race. And now Dimmerlode has got a nice bit of BMW M4 GT3 to pull him along, perhaps.
Yes, indeed. Adam State being kept honest by the man he overhauled for third place through, as far as I recall, through good pit strategy.
Yeah.
Did Adam State take third place? But Matt Kendall maybe not looked at Matt too much this evening, but he's been keeping Adam honest for that third place all evening so far. Will he have some trick up his sleeve to return the favour in this race? It was the other way round at this point in the first race of this round. So it's game on for, well, sorry, it's now of course game on for second place after the demise of Adam Brown earlier on. Demise here meaning he's still running 9th place in the top 10, and Will Blackwell Chambers does pit now in the 143, and fast repair comes in.
Well, State and Kendall had good fights over second place in both of the races at Silverstone that kicked off this new season. Now this will be interesting. Where does Will Blackwell Chambers come out relative to the others? That's going to get a little bit tight. That's nearly a moment for James de Havilland. It was James de Havilland, out of interest. It was the Ferrari 157 that we saw spinning round earlier. And James de Havilland is going to jump Will Blackwell Chambers, or nearly jumped Will Blackwell Chambers there. That shows straight away the power of the undercut by getting out of that traffic jam. James de Havilland was a good couple of seconds off the rear axle of the Porsche, the Clapham North Porsche, before the pit stops, and now is right there. Further up the order, this is James Fremont for 24th place. Murray Adams there as well, who has stopped, but I'm not sure has got the fuel to get all the way to the end of this race. Same case for Sam Spinell. The good news as well, of course, Howard, for Blackwell Chambers, fast repair will have been used. That Porsche will now be back to 100% fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is now that question of what can Blackwell Chambers do. I mean, yeah, I assume it was a legitimate undercut there, and not the poorly nature of his Porsche on the in-lap. But yeah, the indication there with Cameron Watson now ahead of Blackwell Chambers is that there is something to it. Well, there certainly was in the case of that tricky traffic in the midst of the Inters class.
Right, Big Papa Hicks.
Yeah. What
can we do here? They nearly throw it off in the wall outside of Agostini Corner. I'll tell you what, I know for some of the drivers before the start of tonight, they were wondering, oh, is it going to be really that exciting? It's a tight circuit, particularly the Lamborghini is quite wide. I'm enjoying this because this is a close moment between João Castro and Magnus Riddervold. it's something that, again, on a big wide Grand Prix circuit, you don't get in 2024. As that's a bit close, very close between Riddervold and Castro. If you make a mistake round this circuit, this track bites. And that is something that you don't get with big tarmac runoffs. No, not saying that they're a bad thing. I totally understand why they're there. Riddervold's going to have a go around the outside into Brundle. We saw Yusuf Bin Suhail try and do this in race 1, and that's a far more sensible way of getting through there. But it's got that edge tonight. Yes, there's probably not as many overtakes as we were seeing at Silverstone, and definitely not as many as we were seeing in the wet conditions in the MX-5s at Suzuka. But everyone is right on the edge. Mike Hart's found a way through past Adam Brown, has found himself on the grass a little bit as well. You have got to be inch perfect around this circuit with these cars, otherwise you are going to lose out. But you can't go 5%, 10% off your pace to make sure you don't reach those limits and put yourself on the edge, because then you're going to be a second slower and you're going to get overtaken.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it really is providing that challenge. And you know, it's always an interesting one when it comes to like number of overtakes. And you're right, we've not seen perhaps as many overtakes as we are at Silverstone or a circuit of that nature. But I'm minded of a bit of an old quote. I'm reminded of something that Eddie Irvine said in an interview when DRS was being introduced. And the line he always goes is, if I'm a fisherman, do you want to hear about the hundreds of tiddler fish that I caught yesterday, or the story of me catching the biggest carp ever? And it's an interesting analogy, but it checks out, right? Some of the overtakes that we're seeing are mega this evening, and I'm sure it's giving these drivers a big smile on their face when they land them.
I say we had a lot of overtaking at Silverstone. There were quite a few drivers as well, and rightly so in my opinion, complaining about dirty air. And that the changes that have been made to GT3s in iRacing in the last year possibly haven't served wheel-to-wheel racing very well at all. Apologies for having a bit of a technical issue there with the replay as we're on the stream looking at into turn 2. But I'm assuming at your end there, Howard, that was a bit of a problem for Matt Hale.
It was a bit of a drama, unforced error, a bit of a spin through Harbour. Not too dissimilar, actually, from what we saw happen to Adam Brown, as we are hopefully back at my end and yours, folks, looking at the continuing battles at the head of the intermediate field. Although this time it's with Tim Penny arriving on the scene, not as an intermediate, but no one cares about the colours on their rear wing at this point. It's a difficult old pack to pick your way through here, but Tim Penny is giving it his best shot.
He is, but I think the problem for all of these drivers now, it's very entertaining for us. It will be losing them time, though. And that pack that we talked about earlier with James de Havilland and Will Blackwell Chambers and Sam Dimolo, they're all going to be, as long as they're not having a good old Royal Rumble and a ding-dong themselves, they are going to be taking heaps of time out of this group, who have all not stopped yet. Good evening to David Whitehouse, Motorsport Magpie, who says we should have chosen Cadwell Park for these. Are you mad? Maybe, possibly.
I kind of like that idea. I mean, it is mad, but...
oh, there's a McLaren in the background there, running with no front clip on. I don't know if we can pick up on who that is. About 5 cars back. There is Tom Dix, who we did see having some troubles earlier. The front end of that McLaren is all okay.
We're now on McLaren watch.
We're on McLaren watch. Which McLaren did I see without its front fender and front bumper assembly?
I don't want to call you out. Are you sure it was a Macca? Because we've gone through them all.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe it wasn't a McLaren. Maybe it was something that was also missing its front end that made it look like a McLaren. Anyway.
Maybe. I'm not sure what that says about the styling of that particular brand, but yes, maybe.
Good evening to my former housemate as well, Matt Calvert. Oh dear, as Matt Hale has a bit of a moment there. that yes, Kieran Harrison is gapping the field quite well. This is great fun to watch, this fight between João Castro and Tim Penny. This is a senior Club 100 driver going up against one of the juniors. Down the inside goes Tim Penny, but runs too wide, out to the grass. Palmer catches somebody out again. Yes, that car there, running without a front clip.
Yeah, all right, fair
Oh,
point.
it's a Ferrari.
It's a Ferrari. Is that Yusuf bin Sahel?
That wouldn't be a surprise. Yes, it is. Yusuf.
That is...
We told Matt Hale about this at Silverstone. You're running no front wing, mate. Your front tyres will be being absolutely destroyed.
Have you homologated that aero package? It's... I see what you mean, though, about making it look a bit McLaren.
It does look a bit like a McLaren. From a long shot, it really does look like a McLaren.
Got that P1 vibe to it, hasn't it?
Added lightness, says Mr. Calvert in the chat there. Indeed. He's having to turn in very early to make it into the corners there. Yusuf, if you can hear us, pit your melon. Anyway, 22 minutes of this race gone, 18 of it to go. There is Sam Spinale.
Now, deja vu here. He's the highest placed pit caller again.
He is, but this was one of the cars that was involved in the first lap incident, so I'm not sure has got the fuel to get to the end of the race.
Very good point. Very good point. Oh, as Dan Gamblin and Tim Penny pit, and Yusuf bin Sahel doesn't pit. Carrying on he is with this unique.
You can have a
Ferrari
really good look
design.
at the crash structure of that new Ferrari and how iRacing have modelled it.
Which is bizarrely intact, considering how exposed it is.
No, indeed. Out goes Dan Gamblin. Now, the interesting thing is how... Oh, they're well gone. I was about to ask, where are the likes of Watson, Will Blackwell Chambers and de Havilland? They're a long way up the road. So their decision to pit, I think, is going to pay off big time. Sam Dimolo, unfortunately, has had further problems. Tim Penny's nearly got off of the Montreal hairpin. That's going to open the door for Tom Dix to go down the inside and take P26, possibly.
Maybe. He's going to fight back, is Tim Penny. Feels like the second time in as many laps we've seen him having a battle through Palmer. Still side by side as they head towards Agostini. This is a tasty little battle here. Fresh out of the pits is Tim Penny, pitted at the same time as we saw Dan Gamblin doing so. But he has, for now at least, got his Porsche ahead of Tom Dix in the McLaren.
But
Tom Dix also has given us the pit stop and is in full fuel saving mode, if memory serves correctly.
Yes.
Or should be.
Yes. Now, pitted with about 6 minutes on the clock. So at the moment, it doesn't look like that strategy is going to work either. They're 10 seconds behind the group that pitted early. Watson, Blackwell Chambers and de Havilland, who...
Yeah.
Again, it's not where they would have wanted to be fighting, you know, to get into the top 20. They would have been they're all clubman drivers. They all want to be up in the top 10. But again, with the way that the scores are going to potentially work across the course of this 11-round season, I think they've been quite wise there to get in, get the pit stop done, get some clean air, and look to do the undercut on the intermediate drivers. Talking intermediate drivers, Finley Brunton doing another great job here. Howard is only a second behind one of the most experienced drivers in these championships, Steve Hicks. And for a driver fresh into the Club 100 Sim Racing Championships, you cannot fail to be, you've got to be impressed at what Finley Brunton is doing, because not only is the speed there, the consistency from the 3 rounds we've seen so far is there as well.
7 seconds the gap he has in hand at the moment at the head of this class. Really impressive stuff, as you say. Yeah, what lies in store for the rest of this season for this driver? This is really good stuff at the moment from Brunton.
Field a bit more spread out this time. There is a gap behind Matthew Davies that I just wonder if some of the leaders might look to take advantage of as I think there's been a... Describe the problem for us for Sam Spinell.
Oh, sorry. Forgive me. Sam Spinell. That was contact with Castro ahead of him as they came through Brundle, and it was breaking into Nelson. He just went into the back of him. That was unusual there. So damage to the front of that Porsche, and Castro's chosen to go into the pits.
Yep.
But yeah, apologies. Yeah, replay's lost for us at the moment. But yeah, interesting one there. As we're here with the battle over second place in class for Clubman. Ollie Davies really putting the pressure on here. Or sorry, under pressure, I should say, from Adam Brown.
So, if you're Adam Brown, do you take an undercut? Because the undercut's working quite well here tonight, it would seem. Do you go for a stop here and try and get out ahead of that group headed up by Murray Adams?
I think you do. I think that's a good shout. It is a nice big healthy gap that you can use there. As Adam Dalmont comes into the pit lane. And but for now, they don't pit. Murray Adams here. Sorry, every time I'm seeing Yusuf's Ferrari, it is highly distracting. How is he getting turned in through a corner like this?
Because he's doing Yusuf things out there.
Hang on a second. How is this working on board?
See, this is where I need to find the clip of JV saying, Yusuf, you're third. There's nothing wrong with the car. Get on with it.
Sorry, when you said you've got to find the clip, not half, he's got to clip the front back on. I mean,
Matthew Shawnee's in the pits as the rookie leader. What a night that Matthew Shawnee is having. Here he is in the Flying Carrots Ferrari.
There was a bit of damage he had to get repaired there. Front left of that car has seen a little bit of action, but it's now back to factory fresh and ready to rejoin this Snetterton 300 circuit. Driving really well at the moment, not facing any major challenge for the lead here. Tom Holland, the next driver down the road in the rookie class. Oh, leaders pitting, Andrew.
Yeah, leaders into the pits. I think taking the option of pitting now and not taking the risks of going through all the lapped traffic. Or maybe they've already been through some of it and thought, you know what, that's enough of that kind of business. There we go. Kieran Harrison drives through the safety car and goes on his way. Josh Mitchell, Ollie Davies and Henry Mackenzie Friedman all stayed out. So we've got a new race leader. Henry Mackenzie Friedman takes the lead of the race. Will, of course, hand it back once Henry Mackenzie Friedman goes in for a pit stop. But if Friedman continues around on this lap, it will be the first time, I think, that he's led a race this season in the Club100 iRacing Championship. Adam Brown in and out as well. That feels okay, that he's got out ahead of Jack Eyre. I think Mike Hart's lost some time as well through this pit stop cycle. So everybody moving their way through. I think still to pit out there. Friedman, Mitchell, Davies, Doyle, Hicks, Brunton and Matthew Davies are still to give us pit stops.
Agreed. Finally, Yusuf has decided.
There we go.
To take it back to stock spec.
And on he goes. Lights up the rears. And he's going to come out right on top of João Castro, Magnus Ridevold and Dan Gamblin. This could get a bit spicy down into turn one. It does. Bit of snap of oversteer on heavy fuel load there for Yusuf Bin Suhail. We'll stick with this because this is going to get exciting into the Montreal hairpin. This is key for a few positions in intermediate. Fair play from Yusuf Bin Suhail. That was not easy. He had to fight for that one. Had to be brave through those two big braking zones. Off the racing line, of course, as well, coming out of the pit lane. But he's got it done. He's made it work. He's gained some positions.
third place in class as well. And as that's happening, those who did stay out for an extra lap have now come to the pits. So Henry Mackenzie-Friedman fires up the car again. Well, I don't think the car was ever off, but you know what I mean. Lights up the rears and gets going. Josh Mitchell as well, Ollie Davies, Adam Brown. Now we see the likes of Will Doyle, Steve Hicks, Finley Brunton, leaders in intermediates in as well. Himself and Matthew Davies. We just saw the battle over third in intermediates. So that means now that everybody has paid a visit to the pit lane. Some people too, by the way. Tim Penny took to the pit lane for a second time a couple of laps ago. I didn't see the incident that meant he had to do that.
Could be incident points.
Could be
25 incident points, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. Here's a good fight. This is Will Blackwell Chambers down the inside of Cameron Watson. This is for P18. I think Will Blackwell Chambers will have this one because he's got the inside line for the next corner. On board with Cameron Watson, who tries to get the cut back. Will Blackwell Chambers is having none of that. Too experienced a driver to fall foul of that one, and gets that position. Here's the ongoing fight between Castro, Ridevold and Gamblin. Bin Sahel. Look how much quicker you go, Yusuf, when you've got a full car together. He's got 2 seconds down the road of this lot in the space of 1 lap.
How about this Inters class tonight? They just keep
good,
battling.
It's
brilliant. And now Ridevold, having a look to see if there's a gap on the inside on Castro, heading towards Agostini. Has to think better of it because Castro is hard over to driver's left. Oh no, you don't, Sunshine, not at this corner. But I'm not sure these drivers have had a single racing lap where they've stayed on the conventional racing line, frankly. There's been just a move attempt from somebody somewhere at every corner. It's been absolutely brilliant.
It has indeed. 6 seconds the lead for Kieran Harrison at the moment. Tom Dix has got to work his way through all of this.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be particularly looking forward to that one. Matthew Shawnee, I think, doing the right thing here, just playing it cool. I say that he's going to throw it down the inside of Tom Dix into Puddle Corner.
As you said that, I could just see him pulling to one side. I'm like, Andrew, he's not.
If Matthew Shawnee can bring this drive home in this kind of position, he's got 3-4 places over the next rookie out there. This is going to be a big haul of points for a rookie at the early stage of the season, as this is a fight for 10th, 11th place.
11th, yeah. And that was a change. Dalmont through.
Yeah, Dalmont down the inside of Hicks for P11.
Ahead of them, Jack Eyre versus Will Doyle, side by side here. Got to go through Williams now onto the Bentley straight. Little bit of door banging, and round the outside, Will Doyle hangs on to that one for 9th place. That was dramatic stuff there.
I'm gonna say something controversial now. The calendar for this season is set. After this season, right, that's it. In this current form of GT3 races on iRacing, with the current, aero model and all the rest of it, no more Grand Prix tracks. No more Grand Prix tracks. We're going to put you all on tight, twisty, British touring car tracks, because this has been far better than Silverstone was 5 weeks ago, and I love Silverstone as a circuit. We've had some great races around there over the years. This has been a proper battle tonight. This is what we want to see.
David, keep the faith. We're slowly winning Andrew over to Cadwell Park. This battle rages on then. Mike Hart in 8th place. Will Doyle, Adam Delmont, Jack Eyre and Steve Hicks. Theirs is the closest battle in the top 20 at the moment. The next closest battle is the frenetic action that we were looking at in intermediates. That looked like Matt Hale just doing the civil thing there and getting out of the way of this battle as it went through. Here's your race leader. Not seen too much of him. There's not been too much drama to report for Kieran Harrison, who continues a stellar season. It's one of those situations where you've just got to doff your cap to the level of success, basically. Very impressive stuff. Has anybody got an answer as the season goes forwards? Situation here at the front of Clubman's. Adam Brown has been keeping Josh Mitchell honest, but Mitchell's been able, by and large, to hold Brown at arm's length with this pace. He's absorbing the pressure well. It's there all the while. Then Finley Brunton is leading intermediates. 5 seconds he has over Matthew Davies this time around. I say this time around because it's basically the continuation of what was going on between these two in the earlier race. And then Matthew Shawnee, we saw not too long ago, as your leader in the rookies class. Once again, we've got battling here over 3rd, 4th and 5th in intermediate. Magnus Riddervold. What a debut, what an entry into this championship he is having. Part of this fantastic battling that we've been treated to throughout this round, and I'll wager it'll carry on throughout the season.
Shadows lengthening here at Snetterton. 3 minutes to go of this race. Looking pretty set at the front of the field for the top 3 positions. Still, this battle rages on. Tom Dix has got to be on it here to find a way through past Magnus Riddervold on debut. He's had a look down the inside. Riddervold, to his credit, has given him some space. That's really good defence there, Howard, from Riddervold. Gave Dix space, but not so much space that Dix could just take the corner over and made sure that he was always going to get the better run off of the corner.
Yeah, really good stuff. And now Riddervold is once again challenging Castro. Still side by side there, but Castro will resume the racing line. And will that give a new opportunity to Tom Dix? It does indeed. And Dix is through this time. Now trying to think of the most Snetterton-like circuits that we can put these cars on.
Ooh. Answers in the chat. They have to be on iRacing, of course, or in the upcoming plans for iRacing. As Dan Gamp out. Has there been a problem there for Magnus Riddervold? Because he's just slowed down a lot.
Is that a slowdown, or is that?
Well, if it was a big one. Because he's just dropped back behind Matthew Shawnee as well.
I'm not sure if I'm going to open a can of worms with this suggestion, but Knock Hill is kind of... Oh, and he's right on the tail there of Matthew Shawnee once again.
Knock Hill would be interesting, particularly the big curbs.
I do remember the season where Knock Hill was first introduced to the service and the Fanatec GT3 going there. That was interesting. I'll put it that way.
Tom Dix trying to go around the outside of João Castro there. The race leader was about to go on to the final lap. Tom Dix, is there an opportunity for a switch back here? No. Ooh, bit of an oversteer there for João Castro. Tom Dix is going to look to the outside now. I think he's just trying to keep Castro off the racing line to have a go here into Agostini. But Castro's covered that off pretty well. Tom Dix, again, can't get down the inside because Castro's defence is firm and fair. What a good scrap this has been from João Castro, who had a few incidents in Suzuka in the rain, but from what we've seen tonight, this has been much better. Fight still going on for 6th place as well, and 2nd in Clubman within this race. Ollie Davies and Adam Brown. Oh, Adam Brown gets into the rear diffuser there of Ollie Davies. Really hassling the Ferrari on this last lap of the race. Race leader is just coming up to Williams' corner now. Adam Brown knows this could be big for points. Looking back from Ollie Davies now. Brown goes to the outside into Agostini. Still no opportunity presenting itself to Adam Brown to get this move done. Ollie Davies trying to get over before Hamilton. The quick left-hander. It's going to be another big braking zone coming up for Oggies. Davies has it covered off pretty well. Leader coming through the bomb hole now. It's going to be another perfect score for Kieran Harrison. This one's still not done between Ollie Davies and Adam Brown. Here comes Kieran Harrison, who is going to take a really, really big lead in the championship after 3 rounds. Who can stop the former Leeds University man? It seems like nobody can. Kieran Harrison makes it 3 perfect scores on the spin in the Club 100 iRacing Championship. Adam State is going to take a season best P2. He's going to beat Matt Kendall in a GT3 race for the first time this year. Matt Kendall on the podium again. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is going to finish P4, has gone on top of the Lamborghini. Much better run than last time out at Silverstone. Josh Mitchell first at the Clubmans again. Here comes the run to the line for P2 at Clubman. Who's going to take it? It's going to be Ollie Davies by 11 thousandths of a second ahead of Adam Brown. What a finish. Still not done down the order. Hart in 8th. This is the fight for 9th. Will Doyle takes it ahead of Jack Eyre. Hicks, Alston, Brunton. Finley Brunton is your top intermediate here tonight. Adam Delmont P14, Matthew Davies P15. Rest of them coming over the line. Sam Spinale, how has he done that on the fuel? Gets it home. Murray Adams as well to P16 and 17. That is a remarkable job by them. Will Blackwell Chambers, Cameron Watson and James de Havilland all in the top 20. Yusuf bin Sahel is going to score decently. Oh, Castro's off. Castro is off on the last lap of the race and is going to drop down from around P22. Yusuf bin Sahel is home, I think, 3rd of the intermediates. Where is our top rookie driver? It's going to be Matthew Shawnee again. There is Matthew Shawnee. Properly good run for Matthew Shawnee. He's going to extend his lead in the point standings for the rookie category. Wow, what a set of races we have had here tonight at Snetterton. We've had drama, we've had incidents, we've had plenty of overtaking. Howard Mitchell, what are your initial thoughts at the culmination of race number 2?
I've thoroughly enjoyed the whole evening. It was interesting to see, you know, right up until the end there, we had some interesting strategies, even fuel strategies, as you say, with Sam Spinale. Tom Dix as well did get it to the end as well. So it was interesting in that race, as it has been throughout the whole round, to see just how the different pit strategies come into play. Some of them intentional, some of them reactions to traffic or incidents around them. Really interesting to see that. You've got to just doff your cap to Kieran Harrison, as I was saying just towards the end of the race there. You know, it's an impressive form. The gauntlet that he is throwing down is quite something. But that perhaps belies how competitive the series is as a whole at the moment. You know, the battle there in Clubman's, you know, okay, there weren't too many instances where Ollie Davies or Adam Brown threw a move at Josh Mitchell, but constant pressure for Mitchell throughout there. You know, never really having more of a gap than, what, 3 seconds? I think was the max it probably went out to. You know, it's so easy to lose track of, you know, how all these drivers are absorbing pressure corner by corner. You know, they've always got someone in their wing mirror. As you say, the circuit bites if you make a mistake, and add to that the competitive nature of this field, and it really is something. Fantastic battling we've seen in intermediates, but very impressive stuff from Brunton and Matthew Davies in that class tonight. Well done to Finley for taking the spoils in that class there. And I'll shout out our other class as well, right? Matthew Shawnee doing a brilliant job in amongst racing in amongst the higher classes, frankly, there as well. So plenty of good stories. Yes, okay, the headline at the very sharp end of the field has been, we have to concede one of domination this evening, and that question does go forward for the rest of the season. Who can challenge Kieran Harrison, but you know, there is plenty. Hopefully, everyone will be in agreement. There is plenty of battling to be enjoyed, and tonight, frankly, I think we've been treated to some of the best of it.
Absolutely, it's a nice, simple thing to remember now, ladies and gentlemen, for what's coming up. We've had a couple of gaps of 2 weeks, 3 weeks between the races for the start of the season to basically make sure we can fit everything in around quite a few major kart races at this time of the year. For now, up to Christmas, it's every 2 weeks, so rounds 4, 5, and 6 all coming up before the Christmas break. We then have a 4-week break for Christmas and then resume again in January. You can still get involved. Head across to thesimgrid.com, search for the Club 100 hosts page. You can find everything on there that you need to get involved. And as I say, we'll be back in the MX-5s for the next race, which will be of course, round number 4. All entries, whether it's the GT3 races or the MX-5s, obviously the championship standings cover both disciplines there. It's all through the MX-5 pages, and in fact, this is the bit where I open the entries live on the air. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, whilst I pad for time, because I'd forgotten I was having to do this live on the air. The entries close Tuesday 6 p.m. 2 weeks time, so 1 day, 24 hours before the start of free practice for the next round. We will be, it's a good one next, Daytona. How about a bit of Daytona in the autumnal sunshine on the Florida Atlantic coast to get our teeth into for the next round? And if you do want to get involved, if you are a driver, an individual with a history of racing in Club 100 and or the BUKC, if you're a current BPEC driver, if you're the current, if you've got a recognisable relation to one of our cadet drivers, for example, if you're their dad, their uncle, their mum, their older brother, older sister, whatever it may be, you're eligible as well. If you've got a Motorsport UK esports licence, you are also eligible. And if you are a member, if you haven't raced in the BUKC yet, but you have signed up to a BUKC affiliated university society, you are also eligible for this championship. And the entries are back open now on the MX-5 rounds for round 4 and the rest of the season, £30 entry for the whole season. I think that's all we've got time for. We're going to wrap things up there. Thank you very much for joining. If you have enjoyed the broadcast, do make sure you give it a like, a share as well. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. My name's been Andrew Mather. He's been Howard Mitchell. We will see you very soon at Daytona, 2 weeks' time for round 4 of the Club 100 iRacing Championship.